Now let's see the unit number 5, the impact of global warming on Pakistan. Question number 1, what makes Pakistan particularly vulnerable, sensitive to the impact of global warming? This is very important question. Pakistan diverse geography. We have mountains, plains, coastlines, deserts, heavy reliance on agriculture, rapid urbanization, large population, and limited resources make it highly vulnerable to climate related risk like heat waves, floods, glacial melt, and sea level rise. Very important question. Question number 2, how does rising temperature affect urban areas like Karachi? Rising temperatures lead to more frequent and intense heat waves in cities like Karachi, increasing health risks and deaths, especially where urban growth has outpaced infrastructure development. Question number 3, what is the connection between glacial melting and water scarcity in Pakistan? Melting glacier initially increased river flow, causing floods, but over time reduced water availability for drinking and agriculture, making Pakistan vulnerable to water scarcity. Question number 4, why are extreme weather events becoming more frequent in Pakistan? Important question. Global warming changes atmospheric conditions leading to disrupted weather patterns. More intense rainfall, droughts, floods, and cyclones, which are worsened by urbanization and population growth. Question number 5. How does global warming impact Pakistan's cultural sector? Changes in temperature, rainfall, and extreme weather make agriculture unpredictable and less productive, reducing crop yields and threatening food scarcity and employment. Question number 6. Why is it important for Pakistan to implement the heat wave management plan under SDG 13? The plan helps protect people by providing early warnings, raising awareness, and reducing the health risk of extreme heat, aligning with climate action goals. Question number 7. What role does Pakistan reliance on agriculture play in its vulnerability to climate change? Since agriculture is highly sensitive to climate variations, Pakistan's heavy dependence on it increases the country's risk from droughts, floods, and changing weather patterns. Can limited financial and technical resources hinder Pakistan's ability to adapt to climate change? Yes, without enough money or technology, Pakistan faces difficulties in building infrastructure, early warming system, and other measures needed to reduce climate risk. Here we have some additional questions. Number 1, how is glacier melting affecting Pakistan's water availability, especially in relation to the Indus River? Question number 1, answer. Melting a glaciers increases floods. At first, use headphone and listen to these answers carefully. But later reduces water flow. It threatens agriculture and drinking water because Pakistan heavily depends on the Indus River fed by glaciers. Question number 2. How is the loss of biodiversity, variety of weather, in Pakistan linked to climate change and deforestation, forest loss, and a changing climate harm habitats? Muscle species like the snow leopard and the Indus dolphin, this is also MCQs, are threatened. Pakistan loses about 43,000 hectares of forest every year. Horrible. How does Pakistan's growing population and further pressure to its climate Pakistan population exceeds 22 220 million. It adds pressures on water, land, and urban infrastructure. This makes adapting to climate challenges harder due to limited resources and rising demands. What evidence does the 2010 flood provides about climate-related disaster risk? The 2010 floods affected over 20 million people and caused $10 billion in economic losses. It was one of the worst climate disasters in Pakistan history. Number 5. How do climate changes affect both rural farming areas and urban cities in Pakistan? Rural areas suffer from water shortage and crop failure, while cities face deadly heat waves and flooding. Both regions are vulnerable, but in different ways. It shows how climate change affects the whole country. I have specially summarized these answers for your better learning. Why is Pakistan agriculture so vulnerable to climate change? Pakistan agriculture is highly sensitive to temperature and rainfall. Even slight climate variation can disrupt planting and harvest cycles. Why is urban planning important in the face of rising temperatures? Good planning always helps cities stay livable during heat waves by improving ventilation, green cover, and housing. Without it, heat becomes a serious health threat. Number 8. What kind of weather events are increasing in Pakistan? Pakistan is experiencing more frequent and intense weather events like floods, droughts, and cyclones. These are becoming more common due to global warming. Question number 9. Why is Pakistan more vulnerable to water scarcity than many other countries? Pakistan heavily depends on a single river system, which is glacier fed. Any changes in glacier volume directly affect national water availability. Now next unit is unit number 9. Now let's see the unit number 8, clean water. This is also very important for your exam. Let's see. The first one is the author uses cause and effect frequently throughout the text. Choose one instance and explain how this pattern helps the reader understand the seriousness of water-related issues. Contaminated water contains bacteria and viruses, which cause diseases like cholera and typhoid. This pattern shows that unsafe water directly affects human health and highlights why access to clean water is very important. Question number 2. Identify a paragraph where the writer presents a problem-solution structure. The problem is water scarcity and contamination, and the solutions include rainwater harvesting, water conservation, and water purification. These solutions are realistic in Pakistan if both the government and communities work together. Very important question. Small-scale projects like rainwater harvesting can be done immediately. Question number 3. How does the use of reasons and conclusions in the final paragraph strengthen the writer's argument? The writer gives reasons such as clean water, improving health, protecting the environment, and supporting the economy. The conclusion shows that investing in water ensures prosperity, which makes the argument stronger and more convincing. Question number 4. Can you find an example where the organizational pattern changes within the same paragraph? The text may start by stating the importance of water and then explain the causes of scarcity, like population growth and climate change. This shift helps the reader understand both why water is important and why a shortage happened. Imagine this text were rewritten in a comparison, contrast format comparisons, countries with water abundance and water scarcity? This question can be rephrased in the form of a short version. It would show the difference between countries with plenty of water. You have to be careful about the answer and then you find the question. With plenty of water and those facing shortage. He is talking about the shortage of water. Readers could understand how geography, climate, and government policies affect water availability and management. Question number 6. Why is it important to distinguish between fact and opinion, or between evidence and generalizations? Answer. Facts are proven and can be trusted, while opinions are the writer's views or suggestions. Knowing the difference helps the reader understand the text correctly and prevents the misunderstanding of information. Question number 7. What are more community-based initiatives? Answer. Initiatives include rainwater harvesting, water conservation, watershed management, building wells, and water treatment facilities. These actions involve the community and help ensure that more people get clean drinking water. How can investing in clean water infrastructure contribute to global prosperity and well-being of the people? Investing in clean water reduces diseases, improves agriculture, and strengthens the economy. It ensures healthier lives for people and supports sustainable growth and well-being worldwide. Additional questions and answers. Why is water important for all living things? Water is very important because it makes up about 60% MCQs of our bodies. It helps in many body functions. Without water, people, animals, and plants cannot live. What are hygiene and sanitation? Hygiene means keeping yourself clean. Sanitation means having clean places to use toilets and wash hands. Clean water helps in both. Dirty water can carry harmful germs and chemicals. Without clean water, people cannot stay clean or healthy, and many get sick as well. Why is education considered a powerful tool in improving water access and quality? Answer. It helps people understand how to keep water clean and use it wisely. Educated communities can prevent pollution and promote good sanitation practices. Why are children more vulnerable to the effects of clean water, unclean water? Children have a weaker immune system and need more care for hygiene and nutrition. Diseases from dirty water often cause serious illness or death in young children. Question number 5. How can we access clean water globally? We can access clean water globally by building strong water system, using water wisely, and educating people about using water sparingly. Water is our life. Now let's start with the unit number 10, the punishment of Shapesh, the Persian on Kipple the builder. It's also very important. A lesson for you. What is the central message? The very first question is very important. The story teaches that idle talk without real effort leads to shame. Kipple downfall is a warming. Now let's start with unit number 10, the punishment of Shapesh the Persian on Kipple the builder. Very first question is important. What is the central message conveyed through the fate of Kipple? The story teaches that idle talk without real effort leads to shame. Kipple's downfall is a warning for those who depend only on speech instead of meaningful action. How does Shapesh use sarcasms and irony in his treatment of Kipple? Shapesh sarcastically praises weeds as flowers, gaps as perfection, and an invisible throne as a real one. His irony ridicules Hippel's laziness, showing he is a witty leader who punishes through cleverness rather than violence. Question number 3. How does Hippel's characters evolve from the start of the story to the end? Answer. Hippel begins as boastful and talkative in the beginning actually. But as Shoppish exposes him, he grows fearful and hesitant. By the end, he is resigned and humiliated, realizing too late that his eloquence cannot save him. Question number 4. How does the setting of an unfinished palace function symbolically to reflect Hippel's incompetence and the consequences of idle talk? Important questions. Question number 4. The incomplete palace with roofless halls and weed-filled gardens mirrors Hippel's wasted years. It symbolizes his failure, showing that empty words cannot build anything lasting. Question number 5. Shoppish uses a metaphor about the farm servant who failed to sow seeds. The metaphor shows Shoppish's view that talk without action is useless. Just as the farmer's land produced only weeds, Hippel's palace produced nothing because he wasted time in chatter. How does the story begins exposition and what key information do we learn? The story begins with Shoppish ordering a palace and Hippel chosen as builder. Shoppish values progress, while Hippel is shown wasting time telling stories instead of working. Discuss the style of the story. The story uses poetic lines, fable-like narration, and satire, thus making it entertaining yet instructive. This classical style gives the tale a moral tone and ensures its lessons about laziness and talk are remembered. Question number 8. How do humor, wit, style often serves as methods of storytelling? Important questions, very important question. Humor and style mock falls in a lighter way. Shoppish's playful punishments exposes Hippel's incompetence, showing how rulers and writers can correct society while making people laugh and reflect. Both of them set them right. Additional questions of the lesson, also very important. Who was Hippel and what was his duty? Hippel was the builder chosen by Shoppish to build a palace. He worked with masons, stone cutters and slaves. He was also a storyteller who kept the workers happy with poems and stories all day. What is the significance of the palace in the story? The palace presented Shoppish ego and desire for grandeur, azmat. It was a symbol of his power and wealth. The palace was also a reflection of Hippel's skills and craftsmanship. Question number 3. Why did Shoppish pretend to reward Hippel with the marble throne? Shoppish pretended to honor Hippel by making him sit where no chair existed. Guards aimed arrows at him and Hippel had to stay frozen in a sitting posture for hours. What lesson did people learn from Hippel's punishment? Very, very important question. People learned that idle talk and laziness were no longer tolerated. Bardasht karna. Shoppish punishment showed that only true work and dedication would be honored in his kingdom. What kind of ruler is Shoppish? Shown in the story, Shoppish is shown as a wise and clever ruler who teaches the people with his wisdom. He does not shout, but his lessons are unforgettable.